Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. We're going to get started pretty soon here. Inshallah. Just waiting for Mubarak to sign on. Oh, here he comes. Okay. I think we're all set. Let's see here. Just one more second. Okay. All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah. Alhamdulillah. Assalatu wassalamu ala rasulullah. Welcome to the R2F show. We have a special broadcast tonight. We just did a pop-up because we have known as Khalifa MJ coming on the show to give us his insights regarding spiritual abuse. And Mubarak, can you open us up, please?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد تفضل.
All right. So it's kind of impromptu. So we see we have Musa Abdul Salam, otherwise known as Khalifa MJ, founder of Tmoa, a founding father of the Dar al-Islam, a pillar of for really what we know as Sunni Islam in America today. But we're gonna just start right off with the floor is yours, and you could just start tell people who you are, your involvement with the group of Tmoa, and let you take the show from here, and we'll just ask questions as you go.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
1 second. I think
if he has two people, if he has more than one person on Zoom, or if he has Zoom from like two devices going at the same time, it does that. So maybe if that's the case, he'll need to
mute one of them, right?
Mute one of them, yeah.
Yeah. So if you could mute one of the devices in your mute one of the devices that you have and just turn the sound off for one of them. That way it won't echo.
Actually, let's see. Maybe we might be able to do it for him. Let's see. Let me see who's in here.
Yes, it's more about the sound playing. So if they have it playing from two devices, that's where you get the reverb.
Okay.
So
yeah. So Musa Abdul Salam and Rusty. I think that's both him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think it's two. I think we have two people. I think we have. Hold on. So I think so yeah. Go on. Take one of your devices and unmute it so that you can speak.
Okay.
The microphone. Okay, there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
yep,
sounds
perfect.
good. Sounds good now.
Yeah, I saw a little armor on there.
Yeah.
Walaikum salam. It's been a while. But anyway, can y'all see Abu Muhammad?
Yeah, we see him.
No, we can ask him to I'm about to send him a message to ask him to turn his camera on, but I think he can turn his camera on and leave the
Yeah.
I don't want to go.
yeah.
Oh, you don't.
So we can
You
we
don't
can
want.
pin.
You don't want people to see him.
Oh, you want to be in the camera? Okay,
Okay.
that's fine.
You know. And
That's
Abu
all right.
Muhammad was one of the caliphs that was close to Shah Sub at the time. At most of the time.
Because I got it like.
Okay. And I don't know, seem like whatever he does on his phone affects my phone, or is that Hanif? Can y'all hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. Yep.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so let's start over. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله and assalamu alaikum and assalamu alaikum Tiffle, you know, the little guy there. He looks like. Okay. But anyway, I have been getting a lot of questions. I guess you'll probably know over the years, not just today, not just last year or over the years concerning. One was concerning Sultan al Fuqra. Okay, I don't believe in that now. So please don't get me as one of those who believe in that. And I didn't really leave the Jamaat. The Jamaat left me.
Oh, okay.
Okay, there was I had some problems with some of the things that was being done. I didn't take bayat to sit around siphing people's money and so forth. We took bayat as being a part of the Fuqra Jamaat to fight jihad fi sabilillah in Afghanistan. That was what we did. And of course, a lot of us put our lives on the line and our families on the line because we felt that we was doing it fi sabilillah just for the sake of Allah. And we had good soldiers out there, good soldiers, guys that wouldn't hesitate to put their life on the line, and who did, went forward. Right. But when the questions came up, where some people would ask questions, then they would be put in a harsh light. My situation wasn't like that. I asked questions, I argued, and so forth, and only thing I'd get was an argument. But most of us try to remain loyal soldiers, whatever the situation was. And we was more worried about if we was to turn, what would be the condition of those who went forth and who went forth with us. But later on, as we watched things change, and I looked around one day and they sent my best friend to get me. Who was Abu Muhammad, by the way? You don't want to say.
Okay.
They sent them after me. They sent them after me, but he was my best friend.
Now, when you say they, you mean the leadership, as in Mubarak Jilani, sent them after you
directly? No other people, no other person except.
So to be clear, when I guess they disagreed or didn't like what you said or did, so Mubarak Jilani sent your friend to
assassinate me.
Oh, to kill
me. Wow. Jeez. Wow.
Maybe I better use better words.
No, you're good.
Abu Muhammad is here. I mean, you can ask him,
Yeah,
and then when he didn't complete his mission, they sent somebody for him.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So you got in hot water. I have that in quotation marks with Jilani. So he sent Abu Muhammad to kill you, and then Abu Muhammad didn't kill you. So they sent someone else to kill Abu Muhammad.
Is that right, Abu Muhammad? Do we have that right? Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I mean, I never worried about this 1 minute, especially once Abu Muhammad came in and, he let me know what was the situation, what was going on. I wasn't really worried about it. I was more worried about them sending some group of young people to do something that they weren't qualified to.
Gotcha.
End up, causing sadness in their family or causing sadness in my family, and that's what I worried about more than anything else.
Yeah.
So if I can just back us up just a little bit, because I want this to be kept in mind as we go further. So when you say the original bay'ah was for jihad, right? You were
Yes,
taking bay'ah to go fight jihad. So
yeah.
was part of that bay'ah, was any of that understanding to be a spiritual guide in which you were taking bay'ah for more of like a scholarly, religious tarbiyah, as opposed to taking bay'ah, because bay'ah to like a military leader or a jihad expedition is different than taking bay'ah for other reasons. So was there any part of that bay'ah, when the original one that those took, was this because nowadays it's more of he's a spiritual guide and everything, he says it's from Allah and these types of things. So was that even part of the...
Well, that's some of my arguments, is because when he started telling me that Allah told him so and so, then I had a problem with that. Then I'll say, well, how can you speak directly to Allah? I can understand a person saying, well, Allah told me so and so, by them reading the Holy Quran and taking the message out of the Holy Quran and then taking it and swaying it a little bit this way or that way. But when a person tells me they speak directly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told them they could do this and they could do that, and anything that changes, anything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already said, or the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has already said, then I had a problem with it. Now, I know that a lot of people can't understand, because a lot of people wasn't in my position with him from the beginning. In the beginning, there was really that close with myself and Kareem Abdul Latif, who you all know nothing about. The other person, of course, was Abdul Haq, which you all know. I think you all know him. He's in Virginia, and then it expanded from then, because some people were there, but they didn't want to make the commitment at first. We were making a commitment to fight jihad based on a letter that he had called Fitrah. Fitrah was the letter that was circulated to fight jihad against the Russians in Afghanistan, which we were wholeheartedly willing to fight for the Muslims who was losing their lives and children and homes and so far and so on. Sure, we was ready to do that, and a lot of people went forth. A lot of people who are not here now went forth. We gave up everything to go forth to make that happen. But then, as the years went past, things changed. And then, after a while, I was really out of the leadership, and I wasn't trying to get back in the leadership. I mean, one time I went to my son-in-law's funeral on Slumberg, and they put me off the land. I went to my wife's funeral, and they were in Islamville, and they was like, we can't let you pray in the mosque because you don't have time, and you could only be here for the mosque. Same mosque that I sat on my knees and worked and put in the concrete floors and so far, and worked on putting on the roof, and I worked hard on these things. And the thing is, when I went back to California, I didn't go back because of anything other than they told me that there was excrement running down the roads, and that the people and the children were in danger. So I gave up what I was doing here in South Carolina, same part I'm in now, and me and my family went back. And I worked on those things and make sure that the sewage was running, make sure people had water, and make sure people had lights and so forth. So of course, the next opportunity, when I came back, I guess they expected me to go back to one of the lands. I wasn't doing that. So we came back down here where I'm at now. And we decided that because I was totally against people taking people's children and young men, and taking them up to the gate and say, have a good day. This is people's families. How are you going to take your own children? and take them in. I had some kids that weren't good kids. You know, I can Saif wasn't the easiest going guy, but he
Hmm.
was but you know, I ain't gonna say that he wasn't knowledgeable in Islam, because
Yeah.
he straightened me out with some things, you know,
Alhamdulillah.
and I was able to say, you're right and
Yeah.
I'm wrong, you know, but at the same time, he wasn't doing good. But it's our children, we're supposed to straighten them out. You know,
Yeah.
we live in Dar Harb. We don't live in Dar Islam. We live in Dar Harb.
Hmm.
You know, and if we're going to have a life here, then we have to do what's good. I don't have a problem with Islam here in America, because I know when there was a little bit of Islam here in America, you
Yeah.
know, in 1970, there were just a few mosques, you know, in Brooklyn, what, there was 1, 2, 3 mosques, counting the Turks, you know, and about 7 altogether in the New York City area, you know.
Hmm.
And so, you know, Islam has exploded in the United States. All
Hmm.
these little towns down here in the South, because we decided to do dawah, and then the foreigners decided to come out because they seen that we were out. Now we are in the situation is, what do we do? I'm ashamed of myself and for bringing so many people into this Jamaat,
Mm.
and now not knowing how to break it to them that you're on the wrong path. You know,
Right. Mm.
I have people in my family who talk about praying the dead people in the graves and stuff like that. You know,
Mm.
you know, there's people that say, "Ya Hazrat Sheikh so and so Shalillahi Rudi Fisabilillah."
Mm.
How do you do that when Allah, every time you say at least 17 times a day, you say Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Then
Mm.
you say Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. And Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. You swear, I mean, you give Allah, oh, you alone we worship, and you alone we ask for help. And then you go around asking all these other people for help. People, you know, you
Mm.
ask them for help over Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then you go back to Salat, make takbir, swear that Allah is the greatest, and say, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, and
Mm.
go through the same process over again. And it's an embarrassing thing when you stop and you say, really? Oh, how could I do that? You know, and
Yeah.
then someone make excuses. Oh, it's okay, you know, because we're doing it like this, we're doing it like that.
Hmm.
But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you know, this is the way to do it. You
Yeah.
alone we work, you alone we ask for help. So what are we doing as a
It,
human being? You know?
is there like, could you elaborate a little bit more on like some of the things besides, like, Mubarak Jelani saying that Allah was talking directly to him? Like, I've heard that he has said, I came to bring a new religion. I've heard a lot of different things that he said in the past, but what are some of the things that you directly disagreed with him about that caused him to kind of make you an enemy and send people after you?
Well, that's a very what the complicated.
The stuff you're allowed to
Listen,
say anyway.
listen. That's a complicated situation because it puts other people's lives in danger. But
Okay.
it came to a point where he had some things done, and they were Pakistanis that lost their lives. So he threw me under the bus. You know,
Mm.
it became this is Musa Khan, one of his operation. You know,
Oh,
when no, it wasn't Musa Khan operation.
yeah.
I don't know them people. I come from
Right.
America. You know, you know, you
So
know.
just real quick, because one of the things that people will say, and people that don't know the history will say, well, MJ, he's always been an outsider. He's never really been down. And I know personally that you and Abu Muhammad were actually in charge of the entire Jamaat at one point. So what could you say to those people that say, oh, he's always been an outsider, he's not really down?
Well, then they don't know. Those people don't know me. And people that know me, I'm sure that nobody can say MJ is a liar,
Mm.
you know, because these last 40 years, they didn't know me to do that.
Alhamdulillah.
You know, and if I had something I didn't want to tell somebody, I always used the idiom of, I can't tell you that,
Yeah.
you know, rather
So,
than just making up a lie.
so if I could just jump in and ask one question or kind of just get some clarification, because we're having some just some questions or some comments in the comment section, as far as just to make it clear, because we already went over the fact that you and Abu Muhammad were both hitmen were sent after both of you. And so for you personally, what was your highest rank or level? Like, we just want to make it clear that you weren't just, you know, just one of the brothers. I mean, you were someone who was high up in, you know, the on the pecking order of the group.
I was number one when it came to, you know, I wasn't number one until Abu Muhammad became number one.
Yep. Alhamdulillah.
And I didn't have a problem with that either.
Right.
That means that I didn't have to deal with certain things.
Yeah.
So you were the number one guy, and then so Jelani tries to have his number one guy and number two, well, both his number one guys killed at different times. But so the top two of his, you know, I guess, you know, most trusted leaders killed. I mean, some the skeptics, you know, would say, or the people who are looking at this in a skeptical way are going to say, well, perhaps, you know, you guys had, you know, were doing something that warranted that. You know, I mean, this is what they're going to be saying. You know, there's some, you know, it happens. For instance, I have heard people say that perhaps you guys wanted to be what Jelani became or was. You wanted to be the guy who everybody gave the money and, you know, gave the praise and, you know, gave many other things that men might covet.
Hey, listen. Okay, so I'm gonna make that plain. If I wanted the money, I would have had the money. If I wanted to start my own organization, I would have started my own organization. I knew all the ins and outs. I knew all the psychological moves and so forth that was being done with the people. And so once, you know, I realized all of that. And I never put myself in a box where that the only people that I knew was the people in the Jamaat. I never put myself in that box, you know. I knew a lot of sheikhs from different places, you know, and at this period, right now, this period of time, I have, of course, the backing of a lot of them. If I wanted to do that, I could do that. But I have, you know, look, I had no desire to put myself in chains, you know. I know the situation. You know, I read hadiths, I read Holy Quran, you know, I fear Allah, you know, and I have a lot of love for the deen, and I do love the people, you know, and I love the people, and you know, it's just like say Jaffa, your father, before he got the infection on his foot, you know, and so far, you know, I never put a distance between them, you know, or him or anybody else. You know, I never did that. I never put a thing where people couldn't come and pray at the mosque. You know, even when I was in California, I opened the doors. I would have come and pray and didn't come and pray. You know, there was no problem. As far as I'm concerned, if a person has a mosque and he tells the Muslims, only this Muslim can pray in it, and only this Muslim can pray in it, then it is not Allah's mosque. It's their mosque. It belongs to them. It doesn't belong to Allah. The mosque belongs to Allah. subhanahu wa ta'ala. And sometimes, how you say, people get put in a position where they feel that if they don't go along, then they'll be ostracized.
Yeah.
Okay. And when I go home, I might be ostracized. Some of my family is, I'm sure, going to come forward to ostracize me. And my family is kind of large, you know. I got a lot of people in my family.
Yes.
And most of us live the same place, you know, like in hollering distance, you know.
So you mentioned, like, and a lot of people miss this when, like, they think that people are speaking out and telling the truth about this, that there's somehow, oh, these guys are enemies. But, you know, like you had mentioned, like you love these people, like these are your family, like you mentioned, your friends, people that you have personally. I talked to many people that, you know, they mention, oh, Khalifa MJ is my mentor. He's the one that brought me to Islam. I learned so much from him. What's your message to all those people that you love and care about that are still, you know, not only in the TMOA group, but also ascribing to the beliefs of, like, the seven sultans and all these other, you know, practices that are kind of anti-Islam?
Okay. As far as I'm concerned, if you're a part of this organization, you should leave. If you know that it's not right, then you should leave. If you don't want to leave, at least let the people around you know that you don't subscribe to it. That this is not this, you don't subscribe to it. Then the people will do what they want to do. People are going to say what they're going to say. You know, I went to what was that? To Philadelphia one time. Some brothers invited me to dinner there. And me and my wife, we was on our way to New York, so we stopped. The brother invited me to dinner. We sitting there, and a bunch of brothers around this big old round table at this restaurant, and we were talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one brother said, you know, just the last night, you know, the Amir here was telling me that you practice magic, that you was a magician. I said, I am? You know? I said, you know, I'm not a magician. I don't cause separation between a man and his wife. You know, and when we read Holy Quran, this is one of the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala points out to us about the people who practice magic, that they divide the man and his wife. I don't do that, you know.
Right.
So those who do that need to take a second look at what they do. Those who separate the families, who separate. I don't separate none of my kids. You know, the ones that's with me and the ones that are against me. And I agree. I got some that feel that they should be against me, and who told me straight up. And of course, the majority of them say different, though. You know, this is my sons. My daughters, it's a different thing. You know, they got husbands, and you know they have to go through that. What they have to go through with their husbands.
So the sons, your sons, when you say some of them with you, some of them against you, I mean, they are against you because of the, you know, their loyalty to Jilani or TMOA?
Well, I'm not saying they're against me to the point where they'll stand up and say, you know, they say any kind of disrespectful words to me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not that person. But they you know, they're with the Jelani thing. You know. And right now, I could say my son Zahid, he's not with that. Talal is not with that. Hassan, not with that. Yusha is messed up, but he's not with that. You know. Umar is not with that. You know. So that leaves two more that's with that.
And inshallah, may Allah guide them to what is true and what is right, inshallah.
So if I can just sorry, Jafar, if I jumped in there, but I just to make sure that we clarify some things, because we have heard from many people that when we explain to them the things about the sultans, 7 sultans Aqidah, and some of the things that are attributed to Jilani, the first thing they say usually is, well, usually once it's proven that these things are wrong, they will say, I never heard Jilani say this. So have you ever heard Jilani say that he was the 6th sultan?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you hear it? And it's in the books.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, because well, you know, the apologists, they will dodge it and say, you know, they're in the books, but you know, they have a way of trying to wiggle out of that. So, but you brothers have both heard Jilani say from his own mouth that he was the 6th sultan. So to follow, and so to follow that up, I'm sure that you brothers know, you know, about the 7 sultans and what it means for a person to be, or to claim to be, the 6th of the 7 sultans, correct?
Well, that was mostly for the people that was in the Tabligh. So, you know, we was in the jihad part. So we didn't, you know, we wasn't really, how to say, sucked into certain things. That was only for a certain group, you know, to, how to say, to get them to do what they had to do with, you know, fundraising and so forth and so on. Okay. Now, most of the fundraising and so forth, yeah, I did some fundraising too. Did I give up anything? I gave up 35% of my disability check when I was living in California. You know, my wife and myself was the first ones, we lived there, we were the first ones, you know, to give up our 35%. And who was that, what's that boy's name, that was collected? And I never touched the money. I never even counted the money with my own hands. I was in charge, but I didn't count the money. Did I make sure it was sent to New York at a minimum of $19,000 every month?
Wow.
You know, but at the same, I never touched the money. And the reason I never touched the money is because I know that with the money comes these here things where people say, so-and-so is taking the money and so-and-so. So did I raise money outside of the money that was coming in? Sure I did, because we needed things. We needed a well done. We needed lights. Well, the lights, we needed $50,000 to turn on those lights. The wells done, we needed $55,000 down and another $4,000, not $55,000, $5,500 down and another $4,000. I didn't raise it in the Jamaat. I went to you know, I took my sons out with me, right? And we went and meet with guys like Snoop Dogg and these guys, you know.
So do you think, as far as, like, a lot of people are, we came up with estimates of how much money is funneled to Jilani himself that he lives off of and funds his life. How much would you say, because you have a higher knowledge of how much money was actually going to Jilani himself, what would you estimate as far as hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars? How much money was he getting?
Are you muted? He has to be.
Oh, you went on mute for a second.
Abu Muhammad has the receipts right now. Tell them how much money you have receipts. I got receipts.
You're muted again.
Oh, you want to mute again?
Yeah.
Maybe. Is Abu Muhammad coming on?
Can you hear?
I think he's still on mute.
I have receipts right now for $40 million.
$40 million. And that's just for the time that you were in charge, right?
Right.
Jeez.
Let me try to that's one thing. So the receipts right now for how much? $250,000 or $40 million?
$250,000.
$250,000. That was
$250,000. Oh, okay.
Okay.
And that was for what time frame?
It was a short time frame. Let's say maybe a year.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So
and in what year? And in what year was this? Real quick, just so we have some perception.
said not including the money he carried though.
Oh, okay. And then, and what time was this? Like 1990, 1980? About? Just so, because there's a time difference in money. Like $250,000 today is not the same as $250,000 in 1980. You know what I mean?
And that also, so that people listening or watching can understand that the original when brother MJ said 19,000 a month, that is 228,000 a year. So the 250,000 in which Abu Muhammad is saying that he personally took over was about a year's time, that is right on. That's right on the money, basically. So when we look at that, if we extrapolate that out per year, and I'm sure probably by the time over the years, most likely that number increased. But we'll just yes.
You're getting a little ahead of yourself.
Okay,
I
sorry.
think he's quite listening.
Okay.
He said he had receipts for that, right? That wasn't all the money.
Oh, so this is the one that's accounted for.
It's stuff that people carry over, probably.
You know, you send a different way, and then there's the money that people carry. And I can tell you now, he wasn't the only person carrying.
Yeah.
You know, the ladies even carried.
Yeah, Naomi did a lot of that.
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
I was going to mention that.
So what year was this, at least that you can remember, like the incident where you say, okay, you have receipts for it? What year was that?
Oh, I had to go look and see it. About 2000.
It's around the year 2000.
Year 2000. Okay, so let's just see. That's 21 years. Okay, times 20. 21. I'm doing some math right now because I'm just fascinating. So that equivalent, that is the equivalent of, if we just do the modest, it's a modest $4.788 million. So basically $4.8 million. Let's round it up to 5 million because we know there was more. And I mean, so when you do that, I mean, because there's a lot of people that, because I just had a conversation yesterday with my father. And my father said that the money that was sent over, the reason why it was sent over is to take care of the students and the people who came over there to visit with Jelani. That money was used and spent on them. So $5 million at minimum was spent on the people who went over. I mean, your mother went over. Did she? I mean, is any that 5 million? Did she? I mean, was she, you know, serenaded and
slow down?
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me.
Abu Muhammad lived there. Once you ask him about what happened to the money, you know, and the bags of money that he would stumble over in the house.
Wow. Wow.
I don't think you'll really understand. You know, hey, there's one picture for one group of people. There's another picture for another group of people.
Oh, I guess you went on mute for a second there. I think it froze up.
Huh?
Oh, there you are. You're good now. It was a little disconnection in the internet. You're good.
Yeah, because I'll be getting.
So you're on mute. You're on mute, brother. Okay, I can hear you now.
Yeah, because I'm getting a lot of phone calls trying to shut me.
He actually trying to stop
you. Somebody's, you know, a lot of people, even because they don't know. My own kids don't know. You know, a lot of them think they know. They don't have the slightest idea what was going on or why it was going on. All they know is from the perspective that was given to them, you know. And you know, we fought, for example, we've been fighting all our lives not to be a slave. Get away from slavery, you know, not to be a slave to anybody and anything, but to Allah alone. You know, you try to be Abdullah, you know, so I try to give all my kids that male kids that middle name, Abdullah. You know, not be slaves to nobody else but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But yet, you will find some of them decide that they're going to be a slave to Khalifa so-and-so or Khalifa so-and-so, and knowingly feel that this is okay. Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam didn't come to make slavery. He made a lot of ways for people to get away from sin by freeing slaves. You know, if you free the slave, then you can get rid of this sin. And he made it real clear. You know, this is a halal hadith. You know, and so we shouldn't contend that we want to be a part of anything that would enslave us. You know, but we have to stay away from slaves. Next thing is that we get a lot of young people who walk around thinking that if they leave this situation, that they can't be forgiven. That's not true. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that he'll forgive them if they ask him, you know? And some people take it so, well, I got to go through this. And I go, no, you don't have to go through anything. You have to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. And Allah says that he'll forgive you, even if your sins is like the foam of the ocean, you know, and that he'll forgive you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who forgives sins. Nobody else can forgive you your sins. A person can forgive you for hurting them or whatever the situation, but it's Allah that forgives your sin, you know, but a person can be, you know, forgiving, you know, because, you know, you hit me, I forgive you, you know. Now contention is with Allah.
Yeah. Do you think that as far as looking back, you know, because we have a different perspective looking back at our past, looking back at when Mubarak Jelani came and you guys had the Dar al-Islam, and looking at the result of what all happened, what is your opinion on what his real motivations were as far as coming and taking over the group? Was it just to get money? Was it really to try to guide y'all, or was it just for personal benefit?
At this time, I feel it was for personal benefit to set up a thing with his children. You know, like a foundation, setting up a foundation that our family foundation. This is what I believe it is now. This is the belief that I've come to based on the evidence that's been in front of me. You know, that's the way I believe it is. As far as the Al-Islam movement, I made a great mistake to leave Dar. I feel I made a humongous mistake. You know, may Allah forgive me to leave the Dar al-Islam movement. All the things that basically we're doing now, we had already decided to do in the Dar al-Islam movement. We had already decided to get land, and we was looking at Izzadin village, the other two villages that all the way from the 1930s, the one in South Jersey and the one in upstate New York, who had started a Muslim village up there, and we were trying to find ways to emulate them then and before we met him, you know. And a good friend of mine, his name is Ali Muhammad, you know, he used to actually go up there to meet these people, him and Shamsuddin Abdul Hakim, who Rajiun, and the other brothers that try to bring these things together. And myself, I got to meet some of their descendants because of a good friend of mine and brother named Umar El-Batin. He used to ride motorcycles, and he was down there in that area, and I had to go and find him one time because we felt he was slipping away, you know, and he was hanging out with some of their descendants and so forth.
Okay.
But this ain't nothing new. Of course, this organization is not as organized as the Al-Islam movement was. I don't believe that in any way.
I was looking at, from stuff I've seen and just my research on what's out there, and of course you guys know because you guys lived it. It seems like Mubarak Jelani, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, he came and you guys were already doing all the stuff that now everybody gives him the credit for. It's like you said, moving out of the cities, having businesses, all these different things. Like the Dar al-Islam was already doing it and being successful at it. And now 30, 40 years later, everybody part of TMOA says, oh, well, Barak Jelani's the one who got us to do all this.
Well, I know for a fact that we were trying to, how to say, you know, you have different groups. There was a group of us that worked. Then, of course, there was a group that didn't work. And they had a lot of brothers who was into education, you know, Hamim and his brothers and so forth. They, you know, there was a lot of them into education, and there was a lot of brothers that wasn't, you know. They pushed me back into school for a little while, you know. And but at the same time, like I said, I just feel ashamed that I actually pushed people into this situation, and I did some pushing, you know. And may Allah forgive me, you know.
I mean,
you know, and then didn't have the I can't say I didn't have the guts, because I was never afraid, but I just didn't have the intelligence to deal with this earlier in a different way, you know.
right.
So as soon as I saw your platform, I was, you know, my first thing was, you know, I'm gonna try to deal with that on this platform. And when Abu Muhammad came down here, of course, they told nobody to speak to him, of course, except for me.
Right.
They told him, you know, it's all right for me because he's my best friend. He is my best friend.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
No matter what nobody else had to say. But at the same time, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is beautiful that he allowed things to happen, you know, the way that they have to happen. The other thing that we talked about, and I guess it's been about 2 years, you know, we talked about if we talk to people and people left this organization, where would they go? And so some of the brothers in Virginia, they decided to try to put a unity program together called One Ummah. You know, I don't know if you heard about it or not. Hopefully you have. You know, but then I have one of them to call you tomorrow.
Oh, alhamdulillah.
You know, but and trying to find ways to circumvent people from not having a place to go.
Yes.
You know,
That's been a big thing that's come up for a lot of the conversations that we've had is, and it was what prevents a lot of people from leaving is that they feel trapped. They have, you know, they have nowhere to go. They live on the lands. They have family there. Some people are too old to leave and change their social, like they just feel trapped. So like having that place for people to go is a big part of the picture.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big part of the picture, and also is that you get there's people that think of Sheikh Jelani like he's Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and some people think that he's more than that. So they no matter what you say, it'll always be this and this. And the other thing is a point that I wanted to bring up is miracles.
Okay.
Hey, do I believe in miracles? I don't know. Did you see Gunga then? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to go there. But do I believe in miracles? Yes, I do believe in miracles. Do I believe miracles can happen in this day? No doubt. Can I give an example of what I believe to be a miracle? Sure, I can. Me and 3 of my sons was driving in the car, and we had just moved to this land that we're on, and we lived in a bus. All of us packed in there, about 17 people in the bus, and about we had a little 12-foot trailer, and that was packed up too. So we was trying to find some old mobile homes that we could get and live. So we went there. That Well, we had to get Zahid to drop us off because he had to go to work, and that was the only car we had running there. And we went there, we worked on it, and got us stung up by these here meat bees and stuff. But we got the job done. He came and picked us up, and on the way home, a bunch of ducks fly over the top of us.
Mm.
And the first group, Allah's name. The second group behind them, the Prophet's name. And then no other ducks was out of order.
Alhamdulillah.
You know, so this is something that we saw. Do I believe that in dreams to see the Prophet of Islam? Sure I do. The last dream I had was on the 28th of January in 2018. Had a dream. That's with Umar radiallahu anhu in the dream. We talking, we went to this courtyard. We standing in the courtyard. He reaches in his pocket and pulls out 5 pearls, big pearls. And he said, watch. And he threw them on the ground and they grew into this big flower, big yellow, brother, pink rose with white edges and about 6 feet high. So he said, let me see. So I reached in my pocket. I got 6. I throw them down and they grow into this big rose. And then we was looking at each other and we both turned and we said, Ya Rasulullah Sallallahu, do you have any extra pearls?
Wow.
Why? We turned to him. I don't know. How did I know he was standing there? I don't have the slightest idea. Why did I have the dream? I don't know why I had that dream. You know? All I know is that I did make tahajjud that night. You know, I was in the hospital laying in the bed, you know. The night before, I was at home. I believe my heart stopped and all of that. And my wife and daughters and them banged me back.
Oh, alhamdulillah. Wow.
But I'm just saying, you know, things like this happen, you know. Do I believe miracles happen? Sure, miracles happen all the time, you know. Some things are miraculous because we don't understand them and we don't understand how they happen. So to us, they're miraculous. Do some people take advantage of these here things? Sure they do. You know, you know, they do it all the time, you know, but that doesn't make it a miracle because if they say it's a miracle. It doesn't make it a miracle because I say it's a miracle. You know? It doesn't make it a miracle because me and my 3 sons in the car together saw it together, say it's a miracle. That doesn't make it a miracle, you know. But,
do you believe? What about the miracle that they claim in New York, where they say that Allah's broke his personal name?
Let's go with the moon. I mean, the moon thing. It's kind of been scrubbed from there. Like we don't see anything.
Let's not go with the moon. Let's go with my house. My house. On the wall in my house was Allah's name. About, I guess about 4 o'clock in the evening, it would show up. We couldn't find a place where we could put our hands in front of it and there was a reflection. But one day, me and my granddaughter, Fatima, she's in New York now, we was sitting there and we was talking about it and we was looking at it and we was talking about it. And she said, Abby, do you think that that's a reflection coming from the curtain? I said, let's check it. So I reached up over the top of the curtain, right at the top edge of the curtain. I put my hand in and I'm sure there was a light coming through the curtain onto the wall. But not to say anything that, you know, if you see it, it's Allah's name, that's what it is, you know. But it wasn't like that scribbly stuff. I'm sorry, I shouldn't go there.
No, it's okay.
It wasn't like that. It was real plain, real clear. It was no scribbly stuff, you know.
Were you there in New York where they claim that he moved the moon across the sky?
I wasn't there.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't
All right.
there. Yeah. Didn't see that.
Well, but that's the thing. So like I think a lot of us have these instances or these stories where miraculous things happen, but then we don't go and say, "Hey, follow me.
You
I had
know,
this nice dream, and I'm a
you know,
sheikh, and I'm a Rashid."
I learned a lot. Okay, one thing I learned was having manners, having good manners. I learned that he could shoot better than me. He's laughing, but that's not an easy thing. And I learned about ISI and their operations and how they do their operations. And I am not a part of working for any foreign government, even though I was pushed into that to a great degree.
Oh wow.
In
By
an
who?
operation they call the cow, and I can't go no further with that. You have to
Okay.
leave that right there on the table.
But it was
Even if I,
Mubarak Jelani who pushed you towards
well,
that.
we was told it was something else,
Yeah.
and we thought we was doing something else, fighting fi sabilillah, not fighting for a foreign country.
Right.
We weren't there to fight for no foreign country. This is our country. We never had a problem with that. We thought
Yeah.
Islam is flourishing in America. It's going to take over America the way that
Right.
it flourished. So why would we even think that we want to do anything to cause problem? Even though it wasn't against our country, it was against a third country. But we don't have the right living in this country to just take up arms for another country.
Right.
Now, when we was talking about going to fight jihad in Afghanistan, we made it plain, even to President, what's the name? That Musa went to?
Was it Reagan at that time?
Yeah, Reagan.
Okay.
We made sure that he got a letter, that his people were spoken to. Brother Musa from Virginia, but at the time he was from DC. He was the guy that suited up and took care of that. But we didn't do it on our own. We got permission from the Chinese government that if we needed to go in through there, to go in through the Chinese government and different things like that. But we weren't on no trip about we're going to go and take a chance and do 15 years for fighting for a foreign country.
Right.
Some of us knew the law. Not all of us.
So I got real quick. So there's this narrative, and I know you can't speak about specifics, but we know there's things that happened in the past as far as different criminal activity and people, and it's always been said that Jelani had nothing to do with it. These people did this stuff all on their own. What could you say about that?
We never did anything on our own. Let me tell you. See me and this guy here? We stayed up for 8 days and 8 nights. 8 days and 8 nights. Doing things that he commanded us to do. And then on the 8th day, well, the 8th night, we had a meeting with him to something he wanted us to do. And he said, "Are you tired?" And both of us said, "Yeah." And I don't mean that he slept for a while in the car and then I slept for a while in the car. None of that.
Right.
None of that. And we both said we were eating what they called them things at the time, Lodos and this other one, Environment. We was eating them. Sometimes about half a box. It's just to stay woke. And of course he brow whipped us. We both were sitting there crying and carrying on. And then he put us on a mission. But before the mission, I had to drive him down to where we had a phone, because at that time we wasn't using cell phones and stuff. And on the way down the mountain, I started falling asleep. I'm driving the car. You remember that day, and I'm in my pocket trying to get to a vitamin out of my pocket, you know, but they used to have the silver foil on them, and I couldn't get through the silver foil. So I eat the whole thing, chew it up, you know.
Man.
You know, he'll tell you he was in the back seat with Halim, who was Chaucer's wife at the time. And I can tell you, man, it was a trip all the way. That's the way we did. We did whatever we was told. If we would have been told to stay up 20 days, we would have found a way to stay up 20 days. You know, we did only what we was told. We never did anything that we weren't told. We never got outside of the box. And we had a big box, and we never got outside of the box. And there was a lot of loyal soldiers that did not go outside the box. Some you know, and some you don't know.
Right.
But a lot of them never went outside the box.
So it's clear that I'm speaking like this because some of the people listening they're going to try to pick apart and try to find ways to justify some things or to try to free Jilani and so to be clear, you brothers always operated under the direction of Jilani, right? He gave the direction, and you guys did not veer from that. So with that in mind, and without saying any, okay, go ahead.
I did veer, you know, in the case where he told me to deal with a brother, and I told him no, because I didn't see it being justified. So he sent somebody else to deal with him, but he was one of our brothers. And I wasn't dealing with no Muslims like that.
Right.
You know, but you remember what I'm talking about, right? With Shelby's wife and stuff. You know, no, I wasn't going to do that because for the same thing, people were getting 10 lashes. And I wasn't going to do that.
And wow.
You know?
But the reason why I'm saying is because the first step that people do is they try to say Jilani did not order these things. So some of these things, I think it's clear that we're probably you know, definitely not correct to do. But my thing is this: the next step that the Jilani apologists usually go to is that it's like the Musa and Khidr situation, in which, you know, Khidr, he killed the boy, he broke the boat, he fixed the wall, and all these things were, to the person looking, to the person who doesn't know, they clearly look wrong, but the sheikh had some higher knowledge or something that we couldn't possibly understand why some criminal activity would be commanded by him. So what would you say about those people who would say, well, he was ordering this stuff, but he has a higher, you know, the motive is not for the normal things that these type of people do because they're angry or jealous or want money or disobedience or something like that. It's some higher spiritual thing that he's plugged into.
I would say on the 9th day of Zul Hijrah, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam addressed the people. And in that address, he gave us the criteria for what Islam is, what Islam will be, and how we should live our lives in Islam. One, of course, is that the Quran and his Sunnah is the deal. If you can't go and find it in Quran and Sunnah, it's not the deal. There's no prophet to come after him, no new Islam, no new religion, no new anything. It's done. It's all done. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Holy Quran, on this day I have completed your religion. There ain't nothing else. There's nothing else to complete. No matter what we do or what we say, if we have problems, and we all have problems, then we should know how to go back and get ourselves to go back to the basic and fundamentals, you know, go back to your salah, give some zakat, feed some people. And so do y'all see, most people read it every day. And it talks about the feeders, the people who feed people. Feed some people. Do some things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say you're going to get barakat for. Don't be afraid to give charity, Don't be afraid to give charity to your wives, your children, your nieces, nephews, or your brothers, your parents, if you got some. I know your situation, so I ain't saying nothing to you about that. But but other people, and thinking, I never did thank you for working with you, my wife working with you with that translation thing. And I'm glad that it caused the questions that it caused, and I wish they were answered, in the way that they should have been answered, And I believe that every Muslim everywhere has the right that if they don't understand something, to ask questions. People ask the Prophet some heck of a questions, and he sat there and he answered it, in public, and so that the other people would hear and learn from him. And these any questions that you have the right to question anybody. And I believe that. And I believe that for the first I heard about it, of course, I heard it from a derogatory type thing, but when I heard it, I said, Allah, He ran up. But anyway, every person has the right to ask questions. Now the other thing is, and if a person asks you a question, you have the right to say, I don't want to answer the question. But that's your right. You say that, there's nothing wrong with that, just like there's nothing wrong with a person asking the question, I believe that everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put in the heavens, on the earth, is for a reason. We go through whatever we go through for a reason. Have I learned something on this quest? Yes, I have. One thing I learned is that there's no God but Allah. Muhammad's the messenger of Allah, beginning and end. Anything else that comes in between that is a problem. Everybody got an opinion. I have an opinion. Everybody has an opinion, but that's theirs. It belongs to them. But what Allah says in the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that's what it is. Some people are great orators. They can tell these are great stories, have you crying and everything, misty eye, and none of it be true. But have you believing in it so far? But none of it is true. But whatever's in Holy Quran and whatever is in authentic Hadith is authentic, and it's true, And the other thing is, people say, do we believe in Allah? Belief is a word that transitions one way or another. But do you know that Allah exists? Do you know that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a messenger of Allah? Do you know that? If you know that, then you know that this is the way that we believe, and this is how our whole belief system is based on that. At one time, I would say, oh, this guy's Shia so far and so far and so. Then I looked around, and most of the practices that I saw around me were Shia practices.
Yep.
Like, wow, what in the heck is going on here? To the people that don't really know what Shia practices are, then they never come to them. Then you look around, and then you got the adversaries, the ones who say everything goes down through the generations of the Prophet Islam. How could that be so? How could it be so? Didn't you say that Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was not valid? Are you saying Umar was not valid? Are you saying Usman was not valid? Then there's only validity come when Ali Karamallah Wachu came to be. And not even all of the Shiites say that.
Yeah.
You know, but of course, a lot of them do. So what are you? Who are you? You know, who are you? You know, and then if you take it to an extent to say any old left, right, and guy can be the head of Islam, that's not so. They have to prove themselves. You know.
So, to be, I don't know if to be fair is the right word, but just as trying to play the side of some of these people who are still stuck in TMOA and some of these groups, they look
That's
at
called devil's advocate.
yeah. Well, I try. We try not to say devil's advocate on the show, but you know what, you know the term that I'm trying to get at. But they will say that because there's this belief that, and it's been said that Jilani came to guide all of mankind. This is the statement. His only mission is to guide all of mankind. And one of the things that my father told me, and I've heard many other people say, is that when Jilani first came to America, he thought he was being sent, I guess he was being sent to the Native Americans, like the Cowboys and Indians type joint. Like he thought that he was being sent to the Native Americans and he was looking for them, but instead, I guess he found the African Americans. But so did Jilani, or did you ever hear of him saying that he thought he came to the Native Americans and he was here to guide all of mankind? Those seem somewhat contradictory, but those are the two things that are said quite a bit.
Have I heard him say that we should go out to the Native Americans? Yes. Did I hear him say that he thought that he was sent to the Native Americans? No. That's clear. Now, he did tell us that we should go and deal with them. And since I had family and still have family, that's a part of that group. And I have friends that are part of that group. I have friends on the reservation right now, up in Connecticut and in different places, but still, we did send some brothers to the reservation in Arizona, young fellas. They went there to help build a mosque, you know, coming back from the 99 retreat. I know you've heard of the 99 retreat. You know, that's where I had a heart attack.
Alhamdulillah, you're still here with us. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. Yeah, but alhamdulillah, you know, I got a lot of good feelings for a lot of people, you know, that reached out to me, you know, in that situation. And a few that reached out to me in a situation that I was just in, you know, where I just came out. And the reason why it took so long, because I wouldn't be able to sit here and talk to you, you know. They gave me a mechanical neck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they think
the $1 million man.
You know that they could do it. You know, they made out of titanium in my neck, 1, 2, 3 vertebrae.
Oh man, mashallah. So I got a question about. I got two. Well, I'll ask the first question.
Got a lot of questions.
Is right now, TMOA has a woman imam, and Shah Saab's one of his widows is now the imam of TMOA. What advice do you have to people in TMOA that have taken?
Don't follow no women. I'll give you the advice that the Prophet gave. Don't follow no women. You know what happened if you follow the women, you know, and I like women, but you know, women can be your imam. You know, follow the Prophet. The Prophet gave good advice. You should take his advice. He gave good advice, you know. And something just came to mind, which is outside of everything. Alma, that little guy, Alma. One day, Alma was sitting out in front of in California. He was in the van, and he put the van into reverse.
I just told the story, mashallah. I literally talked about this like 2 days ago. Like,
and I had to run that van down. Going into the highway.
Alhamdulillah.
It was on the day that I was real sick too. But all of that went away, you know, for that moment.
Alhamdulillah.
That's it for that now. Yeah, it was a little
Yeah.
horrible.
So you saved Amar's life, alhamdulillah.
I don't know about saving his life, you know.
I was about to be gone.
Went off the hill and down the hill, you know. A lot of people survived the hill too.
Alhamdulillah.
Needs
The next question.
Take the van though.
But yeah, we needed that van too.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. I had another question about like as far as your generation and what you guys have done for this community. Like it's really y'all who built this whole community. Y'all built it from the ground up. You're heavily involved in whatever they have now is because of you guys and sleepless nights, sacrificing your money, your families. How, when you look at how your generation within TMOA and how Jelani has discarded a lot of them, kick them to the curb, don't even allow them to be buried on the lands that they built. What are your feelings about how that older generation is treated now?
I feel real bad about that. You know, the last one of Ali Abdul Rashid, I feel real bad about his situation because he was a great teacher. You know, he taught people about what Allah said and based on the books.
Yeah.
Not based on his opinion and other people's opinion. He used the books. He had these young kids that when he would take them into Charlotte to teach them, he was teaching them from the books, you know. And then when that became a problem, they kicked him to the curb. Told him he couldn't teach anymore. Made him like call him a Dar Islam, so forth and so on. Had even his grandchildren turning against him, you know, thinking that he was this rogue, you know, this rogue guy that they should, you know, and they even threatened him, you know, and no, I don't think that was good. Jamil Rahman was a good person, not just you know, he was a good person, you know, and a lot of young people learned from him, you know, and he would reach out to help people. He was a good person, you know. You know, and I didn't like the situation where they forced him to be buried in his backyard. You know, no, I didn't appreciate that either. You know, a lot of the older brothers that were just kicked to the side. You know, Abdul Jabbar, Charlie Blue Eyes, Abdul Rashid. You know, I even got a phone call not to go to his funeral. Of course, I went. You know?
Well, alhamdulillah.
Things like that, you know. You watch these here things, you say, wow, you know, building the case against people who have literally given up their whole lives, you know. You know, like, for example, I wasn't poor and scraping, you know. When I met Shasa, you know, I had a decent car. My wife had a decent car. I had a decent motorcycle, you know. That's what it is. Who's this other person?
Oh, someone unmuted. I took them off. You're good now. They're unmuted real quick. I got it.
You know, and you know, I didn't live bad. You know, I could say that for that time we had a middle class income. You know, my wife's income was better than mine because she worked. You know, she had got an education and she made more money working big companies up there on Lexington Avenue. So we wasn't like scrapping and we needed this. There was we learning Islam. Yeah, Hafiz Yassin in Jersey was teaching our kids, teaching them Arabic, teaching them Holy Quran. He was he still is a well-known Hafiz, a well-known Qari, you know, and holds his own in the Jersey City area, you know, and that wasn't it. What it was is that we felt at the time that we had met a guy who would fight peaceably law. You know, and me and Kareem would talk about it all the time. And Kareem ended up doing got 50 years. He's still in jail upstate New York. You probably seen them.
Mm.
When you're working up there. You know, Spanish brother. You know, but he ended up with 50 years and a back turned on.
Wow.
You know, but he was only doing what he thought was the right thing based on what he was told to do.
Mm.
So when Jilani came, the split basically was over. Jilani was his persuasion or his pull was the fact that he tapped into people's desire to fight jihad, and so
That's right.
that was his pull. So he didn't present himself as some a scholarly sheikh, because this would people say as far as his teachings and how he was as far as it's the Islamic sciences and things that he was on a jihad type
Yeah,
thing.
on the jihad basis. And the people that we were around at the time, like Hafiz Yassin, told us that he wasn't scholarly.
Mm.
But he told us that he was a sheikh of Qudra. Qudra? Y'all know about this?
Yeah.
You know, power, well, sheikh of power, that he had power. And, you know, we went on that trip, you know, to sheikh of power. Now, later on, Hafiz Yassin said, I thought y'all was going to stay with me. And I was like, yeah, well, you know, you didn't want us, you know. And that was only like maybe about 10 years ago. No, 15 years ago that he told me that. And I said, well, you should have spoke up.
Yeah.
You know, but he, you know, for whatever reason, he wouldn't speak up. You know, and he was a young guy then. You know, he's young. As a matter of fact, he was younger than me. So he was a young guy then, you know, graduate, just come out of school from out of Pakistan, and Maulana, so and so, you know. But his recitation still is, and is crazy well. But
Right.
you know,
So
this is
basically, the brother who did have some Islamic scholarship and qualifications basically said that Jilani didn't have any. I mean, do you know of any sort of, because right now, you know, the TMOA mantra is kind of, this is about guiding mankind, and it's just a religious thing and not about jihad. We love everybody and all this thing. And obviously at some point in time there was a change from jihad. I remember my own father like talking, and my mother was they were talking about how he was saying that he was going to go over for jihad. He might not ever come back and see anybody. Like it was a serious thing. So
Mubarak, is your
Yes.
father from Tennessee?
Yeah, Dawood Abdul Sabur. That's my dad, yeah.
I will tell you some good things about Dawood. Dawood Abdul Sabur, he was in with another Dawood should be buried there on the
Suleiman
land.
Dawood. Suleiman Dawood.
Dawood. So he was in his group. They were one of the first groups to go out. First groups to go out to like prove themselves, to go out on a mission. So yes, Dawood was a part of that in the beginning, you know. But of course, you know, most of Tennessee got lost in that later on because they were just trying to survive. When they got to Nashville, they were just trying to survive. So it was a matter of trying to eat, sleep, and take care of the people that came through and that kind of stuff. So he was trying to survive. But yes, in the beginning, Dawood was a part of the mainstream.
Yeah,
Yes, he was.
I would say my father, let's just say he has a soft spot for Jilani. And I'll
Yes,
leave
he
it
does.
at that.
He's a soft spot. Ain't no, you know, alhamdulillah, you know, may Allah bless him forever, you know. And I know for a fact that, you know, he went forth because he believed in what he went forth for. Peace be with Allah. He went forth because he believed it was right, you know. He was willing to put his life on the line because he believed it was right. And he know when they went up there that there was a good chance, more than good chance, they wasn't coming back the first time. So, you know, I know that he believed in, you know, he went forth. Peace be the law. You know, I ain't gonna put no words on what he was doing and nothing like that because that's no good. That won't help.
So I wonder, I just, what are your thoughts on the fact that some of these people, like my father and a lot of people listening, one of the brothers who we was talking to earlier, he has a lot of insight about his father and just how they were involved in a lot of this thing. Do you think that perhaps one of the reasons why it's so difficult for them to kind of see, you know, actually what Jilani really was, because of the type of commitment that they had put into these type of missions and the type of belief and fortitude that they had to have in order to go through with some of these things, and to then, if Jelani is not who he's supposed to be or whatever, then that would mean that pretty much their whole life and a lot of the most impactful things in their life that they have done, or the hardest thing that they have done, could have possibly been completely for nothing. I mean, is that one of the things you may think that is keeping them hanging on to this thing? And because it has trickled down to their children. I mean, here I am, and you know, all of the people that are in my age group, many of them, you know, are still, you know, believing heavily in something that their fathers kind of introduced them to, but their connection to Jelani is not like that, you know.
Okay, so I guess what you're saying, that we developed a bunch of smart aleck kids. It's a funny thing, but that are really smart though. But they're, you know, they're really smart, and alhamdulillah that they won't get caught in the same things that we got caught up in. But more than anything is that some of y'all are making an example to show that when you're caught up in these situations, to step out, to step forward, do something about it. Don't just sit around and be afraid to say something. You know, I'm not going to say something because my daughter might run away from me. She might not speak to me because somebody tell her that they should separate herself from her kin. And she's my wife, you know, and so forth and so on. You know, who I love my wife dearly, you know. These last 46 years, you know, we've been pretty good, you know. You know, she took care of me when I was sick, you know, and I've had some sick days. She took care of me. But now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has opened up this portal where we are able to address issues. Right now, we've been sitting here talking, but we ain't really been addressing too many issues. What we've been addressing is the situation. I don't want to, like I said, I learned a lot of things from Shah. So what I learned, the one thing is good manners. And we should all have good manners, one person to another person. And, but things that I was privy to, you weren't privy to. I was privy to a lot of things that I'm sure that K2 wasn't privy to. A lot of people like that. Abu Muhammad was privy to a lot of things they wasn't privy to. You know, I'm sure they wasn't privy to the cursing and talking about people and all of that kind of stuff. They weren't privy to that, you know,
Right.
because they weren't the people that sat in that kind of a situation, you know, which I'm not making a big thing because I know during the time of the Prophet, you know, some things that people weren't like for when they were sitting around the well or wherever they were, cooling their legs off, rolling up their pants leg, and somebody knocks at the gate and they say it's Usman, and everybody now pulling down the pants legs and stuff like that. You know, which you know, was respect for Usman, because
Yeah.
he knew how Usman was. you know, you know.
Alhamdulillah.
And dang, how could someone even think that he wasn't valid? You know, how? How could they think he wasn't valid? You know,
Right.
when they went to war, Usman gave the equivalent of millions of dollars worth of camels, you know, saddles, weapons, you know.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
how could they think he wasn't valid? When they needed water, he had wells dug in Medina. You know, I don't know if you can imagine somebody paying for wells, not a well, but wells would be dug in certain places to make it easier for the people to be able to drink water. You know, he established the Beta Mall. You know, he's the one that established the exchequer. Umar radiallahu anhu, you know, when he died, he made a hope that the widows and, you know, these people be taken care of. When
Yep.
Uthman became caliph, he set it up for them to be taken care of, or what they may call a welfare system in this state, you know, but he did it. He did it. So how could anybody sit around thinking that because he wasn't the direct descendant of the Prophet ﷺ, that he was not qualified to be the caliph? You know, how could it? How could they? You know,
Yeah.
Prophet ﷺ talked about him in good ways. You know,
Yep.
you know, he showed love and respect for him. And he was one of the first ones. You know,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
say, you know, I'm down. You know,
So
you know.
with that, like, it reminds me, because you and one of your close companions, they call him K1, Hussein Abdullah, like one of the first Talibs, and I know he watches the show. And
Yeah.
what message would you have for him, being that you're his, you know, close companion, that you could actually say the words that might be able to reach him?
Words to reach him. One of the first things I can say is, look, you know better. You know, I know that you know better. And at the same time, you know, whatever situation, I forgive you, and I hope you forgive me.
Alhamdulillah.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, take care of us. You know, I learned a lot from you, you know, because you're the old guy. So, alhamdulillah, that I still have friends that's the old guy. You know,
Alhamdulillah.
you know, there's this here things where we was I don't know how to say it. You know, we were baptized in fire and flames out here. You know, and I wish you would have had the opportunity to be with us. You know, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't make it so. But yeah, you know, I don't know what tomorrow's gonna bring. You know, I didn't know that people could just call in and shut stuff down, call in and shut stuff down.
Well, I'll tell you right now, this, and this is what you're doing is probably the biggest thing that's happened in the history of TMOA, what you're doing right now, because it is evident, you know, and I know you're going to be humble about it, but I want to just say it, like, may Allah bless you, may Allah bless your family. What you two guys are doing right now, just coming on the show and telling the truth and being upfront and honest about everything that went on and letting everybody know, this is a big step to help guide a lot of people. And just right now, like this is we just hopped on. Like, you called me, we had like 20 minutes, we just jumped up and started the show. Right now we have the most live viewers that we've ever had on our show right now. So just showing, this is like a sign of, alhamdulillah, Allah uses to help guide people. I mean, Allah bless you. I can't stress enough how big and how courageous what you guys are doing right now is. And I mean, I'm just a loss of words, really. We could go on all night about how you're going to be blessed with this, inshallah.
Well, Imamukum Memukum. That's what we used to always say. We should have took heed of it. But we have to remember that they know God but Allah. Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. All of this other stuff is mostly opinion. We should be able to take back anything that we have squabbles about to Allah and His messenger. Anything, not something, but anything. And then if there's no answer there, then we have Ijtima of the Ummah of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We have a large Ummah, and right now, I guess I'm gonna have to change my quest to trying to figure out how can we make this one Ummah, not a whole bunch of little sections, those bunch of guys and that bunch of guys and this bunch of guys. Most of the people that I'm around or been around the last, I guess, 10 or 15 years down here, they are seem to be very good Muslims. They look out for each other financially as well as spiritually. They reach out. They try to stay close to what Allah say and the Prophet Sallallahu say. They help people who they know and people who they don't know. And I try to learn from that. And one of my best friends, his name is well, should I say his name or not? Well, anyway, he's one of the doctors here. And his name is Dr. Nasmi, if you wouldn't mind. Okay. And yeah, he's from the family of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. But he don't do that. And of course I know his whole family, and his nieces and all of them. I know all of them. And he showed me that he's a good person. There's other people down here. I know a lot of Akhlabate people down here from Africa as well as from Turkey and so forth and so on. There's a lot of them here. But
do any of them take money and cars and houses and
they can't
regular
do that.
payments from people and stuff, or do that?
They can't take charity. They're from the family of the Prophet.
So I guess also there's a sentiment that I guess that these people who are from Giuliani's family that don't work is, I guess I heard something the other day that there's some sort of idea that they can't work, they're above working because of Ahlul Bayt. But I know people who are from the lineage of Rasulullah and they work very hard. So I don't know. I mean,
all the ones I know work and they work very hard, and they don't take charity. They don't take charity, and they'll tell you in a minute. Well, I'm sorry, but I can't take charity because I'm from the household of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu. Now, of course, my ideology, my idea, not somebody else's, my personal idea. When a person tells me, okay, I'm a direct descendant of the Prophet Sallallahu, all descendancy is based on a man. All of it, Where did we get this idea from? Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu. So we trace back lineages. Prophet Sallallahu was the last messenger. No messengers could come after him. Well, I wonder why. Is it because no bloodline came from him? Who is it? Ibrahim died. He cried. He buried him. He also put a marker on his grave. So I don't know about all these people with this marker stuff. Spits me out. But here we go. We getting all caught up on things that's more mystical than anything else.
Yes.
All of that is mystical. you know.
Yeah.
Okay, we have respect for the family of Ali, you know, and the family of Hussein and Hassan. Prophet
Mhm.
Islam loved them. Those were his grandchildren, no doubt,
Yeah.
you know. But what do we understand about bloodline? What do we really understand? Or do we sit around making up things? You know, so we need to be real careful about that, you know, because we start falling into the line of the things that we tell people not to fall into, the same lines. And we have the evidence in front of us, but we don't take the evidence. You know, we don't use the evidence. And then you got the ones who take an ayat or a hadith and say it and then twist it around. Or they say the whole hadith, but when they get to the end, they put the but on it, you know?
Mhm.
Lacking, you know? Lacking what? You know?
Mm.
We speak the same language. There's
Yeah.
no lacking. There's just what it said, you know? And it's a trip, you know? It's a trip.
So, do you mind taking some questions? Because we got a lot of questions piled up that people have asked or whatever. So
Oh,
we
People
could,
asking me questions.
yes.
What you
there
got?
are questions that are being put in the chat and different things. So we can just let the people before we get too far and we don't have time to answer some of the questions that people are asking. So
Okay. Yeah, because I'm getting old and sleepy. So
okay. So let's let our brother that asks if he can call in. Yes, you can call in and ask your question, brother. Go ahead. Let me see if I can take you off mute.
There he goes. Yep, you're good.
I just had a question for MJ real quick. I've been talking to my father, trying to, give him dawah and let him know about all the stuff that's going on within the Jamaat. He's not really listening to me, but maybe since you're a good friend of his, maybe you could say something that would help him, see the truth of what Jafar and everyone else is doing as far as R2F is concerned. That's the only thing I wanted to
who's
say.
your father?
Sayyid Hunafa.
Okay, I'll call him.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So we have questions from the YouTube chat for.
Man, he was a good soldier too.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay. So one of the first questions we have at MJ, Brother MJ, is we have: do you believe that Jilani and his family are relatives of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? Do you believe that they're Ahlul Bayt?
I don't know if the Gilanis I don't know. You know, I don't have anything like I'll give you an example. You know Sheikh Faye? Y'all heard of Sheikh Faye?
Yes.
Okay. Sheikh Faye has a written thing that he keeps with him all the time of who his father was, his father, and his father, and his father, all the way up to back to the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So when I questioned him about that, and I questioned him about it, then he was able to bring that to me. I believe it was a valid document, you know, Allahu Alam. In the case like for Dr. Nazari, his family is famous, you know, for doctors in Syria. And they've been famous for hundreds of years, you know. You know, of course, you know, they do a lot of intermarriage and, you know, marriage first cousin and all of that kind of stuff. But they're very famous and people know them from all over the world and know them for years and years. So he has a London document, but no, I haven't seen that.
Okay.
You know? So I'm sure that somebody will produce it.
Okay.
You know, inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay. We have another question here. Is do you feel that you were used as a tool by Jilani to build his corrupted cult?
Yep.
Okay. Mashallah. Okay. Let's see. How do you feel about Jilani marrying severely underage girls?
Well, This comes to a matter of fiqh. And when we deal with, when a person has, a girl reaches the age of being, having menstruation and so forth and so on, I don't feel that it should be done. I had the opportunity, I decided to wait. Do you remember that, right? You know, this is Abu Muhammad, you know, and I was going to marry his daughter at one time, but I felt she was too young. He decided to marry her and she agreed to it. Nobody starved her in no room or anything like that. You know, it was based on her agreeing to it. She agreed to it. Her mom agreed to it. You know, I did the marriage ceremony.
Alhamdulillah.
You know, so that was that on that. It could have been worse. It could have been, you know, but that's the way it was at the time, and we believe that the fiqh was right on it.
Yeah.
You know.
And just a little sidebar real into that is because we talked about it a lot, and there's a lot of misconceptions around a lot of those marriages, and there's a lot of different moving parts, culture, fiqh, like you said. There's a lot of moving parts in there, so it's like, you know, people just see it because of our Western view on things, and we got set numbers, so it becomes it's a very complicated issue to and that's why I try to I've talked about it in the past, but I've decided I'm just going to stay away from those types of issues personally.
Yeah, Aisha radiallahu anhu was the example. And that was the example that was taken into for stay during that time. But you know, there was other things, you know, and it's like the first time he got married, it was based on that he was a foreigner, came from a Muslim country, which I don't consider a Muslim country now because they're a republic.
Right.
But at the time, we believed it to be a Muslim country. So when Khalil divorced her, and there was no wait time, and he married her. And the other thing that was based on was that when a person comes to, a Muslim comes to a foreign country, that the people are like slaves. And
Wow.
they have the first right to them women. Now.
Oh, wow.
Now.
Okay, I'm a little bit I'm a little bit confused. If we can just.
I bet you are.
Wow.
So,
no, I'm. Oh, wow. This is good stuff right here.
Now,
are you saying?
Hold on.
Okay.
I want to give you some delil on this. I want to just say something and it just comes, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and the delil, of course, was found in the Hamilton edition, right? And dealing with the law. Now, it was twisted a little bit because I wasn't understanding it. I mean, I was shown it, and then I had to read it, and then I had to digest it, but I was kind of scared a little bit. So I was the one that came forward with, this is okay, because, you know, you read off something that you don't really know the whole history of. You know, this was in 81. So y'all was little kids then, some of y'all was little kids.
I wasn't born yet.
Well, anyway, this happened in Jersey at one of the brothers' houses there. And yeah, I read it that way, and he told me to present it that way, and that's the way it was presented. But later on, I found out that was concerning slaves. Now, truth of the matter is, you know, I never considered myself a slave. I became Muslim to get away from that. So I wasn't a slave. And somebody think that I'm a slave, then they mistaken. Ain't nobody slave, but Allah.
Mm.
Abdullah. That's me.
So, I just like when you were first saying something about, and I just want to be clear because I'm getting some questions about it. As far as you say, Jelani married a woman before her iddat was over,
He that.
like
What he
before,
do?
like she was divorced. She was divorced, and then before her wait time, like right after a woman gets divorced, unless she is
There was no wait time. Just to be clear, right? No wait time. Call
Mm.
call Khalil, Muhammad
Wow.
Khalil. He was
Sheesh.
married to her.
so he was married to
that
her.
was,
He divorced her, and then Jelani married her like immediately.
I ain't saying immediately. It might have been a couple of days.
Wow.
So,
La ilaha illallah.
but listen, during that time, I just told you what we believe.
Yep.
In his situation, not our situation.
Phew.
A lot of things is on the edge. This is back
Yep.
then. A lot of things is jacked up. I ain't gonna tell you that they wasn't. And some
Right.
things was better, and some things was worse.
Yep.
And as time go along, you got situations now where there are people who will tell a member of your family, don't talk to him.
Yep.
And think that they're not committing a grave sin. There's people that'll tell somebody's wife, you should leave him, and think that they're not committing a grave sin, or think that they're not being cursed because they are out there telling somebody that they should divorce somebody. Now, I'm trying to stick straight to English, simple English, as we go along. I don't want to, be one of them guys that's gotta have to say, this ayat and that ayat and so
Yeah.
forth. But just plain English, things we know, and keeping it basic to things we know.
Yeah.
Someone comes to my house and tells my wife, you should leave him because then I got a gun. Allah knows. I don't know how that can be so. Who is this devil? Why does this devil come to me? How can this devil claim that it's telling the truth? That it has something to do with Allah and this messenger. If he's willing to break the law so blatantly, my wife had nothing to do with him. He has nothing to do with my wife. If he crosses the threshold of my door without knocking and I told him to come in and didn't tell him to come in, he has a problem. Unless he's a member of my family who has that, been given that right. I have rights. My wife has rights. She know her rights. So I ain't so easy that I can go over her rights because she know what her rights are. And I know you studied with her a little while. So.
Yep. What is your do you have any knowledge of, and what is your position on the practice of the halal marriages, the organized halal marriages?
Can I? Think I should leave that alone?
You can if you want. That's fine.
The first one that I know about was him. Not that he did it, but
right.
It involved him.
Right.
And I don't think I think I'm gonna leave that alone because it may hurt a lot of people that I still want to talk to.
Right. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
A lot of people.
Okay.
But it's safe to say that
I was told that it was okay.
Okay.
Otherwise, it wouldn't have been. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been done. Matter of fact, I called.
So Jelani told you that the halal marriages were okay?
I was in Detroit and I called him and got him on the phone and asked him, and he gave me directions on how it should be done.
Mm.
Mubarak Jilani.
Did I just tell you? Mubarak
Yep.
Jilani.
Yeah.
Okay, because I didn't. I just because a lot of people listening, they find a lot of ways. We get a lot of calls and talk to people, and they find a way to distance him from some of these things.
Listen.
Which if we don't know something, just like in the situation, sometimes for you guys, you may not have known, and actually Jilani may not have known. But the thing is, he is presented as someone who should know. He was presented to us as some sort of scholar and someone who knows Islam. But I've been trying to tell people he doesn't know Islam. And if he does know, he doesn't practice it. So this thing is clearly 100% against Islam. And if he is the one who is telling people how to do it, then that's problematic. And that's the only reason why I try to trying to make it clear that it is Mubarak Jilani who is directing these things. And it's unfortunate. We don't want to bring up anything that's going to hurt anyone, but we just want to make it clear that he was directing these things.
Yes, he did direct that. Now, let me explain something to you. I think it's wrong for you to even think that he doesn't know Islam. You know, he wasn't a scholar. He didn't go to any of the universities. So that's why he sent other people to the universities.
Yes.
You know, like we went to Jamia Naimia and the people that went to Ghaziya and these other universities and so forth and so on. And then if he didn't like something that they was teaching, then he'd tell them not to teach that. You know, you know, some things that you know, but at the same time, no, he wasn't a scholar. He wasn't a Maulana of this and so forth and so on. What did he become scholarly over time? You know, if you sit down and study what Allah say, and you needed to use it for this or use it for that, or what the Prophet of Islam say, and you need to use it for that, then you do that. You know, then you become scholarly in what you are trying to learn. And you should know by just studying the things that he wrote on the Holy Quran and on his tapes and so forth and so on, how he was able to use those, and psychologically, how he was able to maintain his situation, you know. Some people are kind of slow, you know, and no matter what you tell them, how they say, the light doesn't come on, you know, so they're kind of slow. In my house, when I first told even my wife and other people, you know, that, hey, you know, just gotta send somebody to get me. They said, no, it didn't come from him. It came from the administration. I said, no. It came from him. Then a lot of other things started happening. They said, no, it didn't come from him. It came from the administration. People start saying bad things to my wife and about my wife and stuff like that. They said, no, it didn't come from him. It came from the administration. Come on, it came directly from him. And they just brought what they was told. You know,
Exactly.
they were just doing what they was told. You know, these are mostly good people who were just doing what they was told because they believe. You know, they believe in it. This is what they believe. That if whatever they was told, this is what they believe. You know, even if they don't understand it to be right. You know, one time I was told, even if someone tells you there's something wrong to do, hear and obey. I said, no, it ain't gonna happen. But some of my peers around me was like, yeah, that's right, we have to hear and obey. No, you don't. Because when you go before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're the one going before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, well, I guess I couldn't stay around. You know, I had to be moved. Now, I'm gonna tell you something about Sufi law. I don't know if you know this or not. When a person becomes a caliph, right? because it's supposed to come directly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then nobody can ever remove him. So, of course, you know, I know a lot of Sufis, you know, Sufi sheikhs and stuff. And they say, well, how could that be? That's impossible. I said, well, you know, I don't know, but I don't really care. I'm just telling you, this is this is Sufi law. You know, that once it happens, because it comes directly from Allah, then it can't be undone. Now, you know, but people take that to mean whatever it means. I'm glad that it happened, you know, alhamdulillah, because it gave me the freedom to be a person, you know, and be a human being, you know. And that's all that I really want to be as a person, that believe in Allah in the last day and try to make my way to paradise. I believe that hell is real, you know, and I believe that paradise is real. And I believe that the 6 things that are for intercession are them, just 6. There's no more than that, you know. There's no extra ones. There's no extra people. There's nothing, you know. Alhamdulillah, read much of Holy Quran as you possibly can, because you know that's one of the things that can come for you and say, Ya Allah, please, you know, give a break.
Yeah.
You know.
I got a question that someone begged me to ask, so I'm going to ask it. And it's about individuals that their stuff is very public and it's already been tried in the courts. So the person asked, you mentioned earlier that you all didn't do anything without Mubarak Jilani's instructions or say so. So is it fair to say that the actions of Khalifa Atif, Brother Abdul Shakur in Colorado, and Barry Adams in Canada were ordered to do what they did by Mubarak Jilani?
Yeah.
So
So do we have any other questions, Mubarak, Amr?
Yeah, we have a question here. It says, how long have you been out the Jamaat, and when did you start to realize that the things that happened were wrong against Islam? And then why did it take you so long to come out and say, oh, this is wrong? Why did you wait? It says, why did you wait 40 years nearly after?
Okay. How long did I realize that things was wrong? 15 years.
Okay.
Why did I take so long? Because I wanted to try to save my family. You know, and I wanted to try to save some of the other brothers and sisters that I know. I talk to a lot of people. You should know. I talk to your father.
Yep.
And I talk to a lot of people. I've been talking to a lot of people for a long time. I gave a dissertation at Abdul Rashid's funeral, you know, to try to make people understand that there's no God but Allah, Muhammad's the messenger of Allah, and there's always a way with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then don't let anybody crowd you into a situation where you feel that you can't do without them. There's always Allah. There's always. So I tried to make that plain as I could. And a lot of the brothers there understood and some didn't. You know, there was a guy with the cameras who was, I ain't gonna leave that alone. But anyway, I didn't care, you know, but at the same time, yes, I have been talking to a lot of brothers around the country, a lot of sisters around the country for all of these years, you know. When I got this message of apology for supposed to have been putting me out of the Jamaat, you know. Of course, that made some members of my family happy. It made me happy because this was way too late for anything like that. But at the same time, I've been going for a while, you know, and I've been trying to ease other people's way for quite some time, you know. But like Abu Muhammad was saying, our main problem is we ain't have any place to tell people they could go. And people would ask, where are we gonna go? Where are we gonna go?
Yeah.
You know, and this is a major problem. Have I talked to young guys? All the time. I've always talked to young guys, you know, help young guys to get jobs. When people told them they couldn't go to work, go to work. Don't worry, they'll come back to you as soon as you start making money. You know, you don't have to worry. You know, you know.
I got a question that came. Do you
Don't be scared to say the question.
well, it's a little. So basically, they seem to think that basically, were you one of the honorables, and how does a person become an honorable? Basically, I guess that's referring to like some of the people like Hussein Adams, and some of these people are honorable.
Yeah, they call me
What's your
honorable.
opinion on? What's your opinion on
Yeah.
how you become one of the honorables? How does that happen? Because there's only a few.
Well, you know, yeah, I'm one of the honorables, they say. When I go places around them, they call me honorable, you know, honorable Muhammad Tmoa, you know, and you know, I don't bother people about that. And I couldn't care for it less, you know, because of the situation, you know, because I'm not honored, you know, to have caused this here catastrophe on so many people. You know, and I know that I don't even know how to tell you. You know, in the beginning, I was the big mouth, pulling people from here. When people was trying to go back and deal with all Islam, I was pushing the other way. When people was trying to not leave Brooklyn, I stood in the middle of the road while they packed their trucks to give them some security to move on with 2 guns.
Oh wow.
Well,
Well,
things like that. You know,
I will say that and my good friend Hanif, he's the one that told me about this hadith, and I don't know the exact hadith, but the meaning of it is it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And he's in the chat, and he had a good question that I wanted to ask, that he wanted to ask, and it's a very good question because tonight's show, you guys have exposed a lot of it's like a bombshell that people are listening to, but I want you to give them perspective, because to a lot of people it's gonna be like you exposed everything, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how much have you really told us?
About 1.
Wow.
Exactly 1.
Because I can't.
Matt,
There's
exactly.
people lives, you know, people lives involved, you know,
Yep.
and a lot of things, no, you know, and I don't have no problem with Hussein because of Adams, because he don't know.
Yep.
He never was a part of that. He was never a part of certain things. He was never a part, you know, so he don't know. He don't know what was going on, but he was a little baby, you know, and you know, there's so many things, you know, you don't know, you know. His father knows some, you know, and then he took on another thing of his own, you know. Skilled person, you know, very knowledgeable person. One of the most knowledgeable persons I know is his father, you know, graduate of St. Mary's College, top of his class.
Oh yeah, alhamdulillah. Oh, okay. Alhamdulillah.
You know, things like that, you know, very knowledgeable person, come from a very, very, very knowledgeable family, you know, alhamdulillah, you know, that I had the opportunity to meet his family, you know, and, you know, when I was in Trinidad, his mother, she gave me a place to live, you know, and in one of her apartments, you know, downtown. So, you know, alhamdulillah, you know, I don't know what the situation is now. I'm sure he's on the line, you know, and, you know, I got to admit, you know, I felt he was an honorable person, doing things that he felt was honorable, but we just didn't know. You know, I didn't know about ISI at the time. I didn't understand about these here. That's the equivalent, by the way, of CIA in America.
Okay.
But you know, I didn't know about it then. You know.
So is that like the Pakistani CIA?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
What could you shed, there's been a lot of talk, and I've heard it throughout a lot of different discussions I had with various people, and it could just be a rumor, it could just be conjecture. But what are the possibilities of Mubarak Jelani actually being an asset to be used to break up the Dar al-Islam because it was a successful African American movement?
I don't think that was a thought.
Okay.
Allahu Alam. I think he had a mission that he came on, and after Shukri and Abdul Wahab, the
Mhm.
mission extended itself to something else,
Okay.
you know. And believe me, we had no idea that this was the situation with Shukri and Abdul Wahab was ISI mission.
Mm.
Are you able
None.
to elaborate on that a little bit, or is
No.
it off limits?
That's off limits.
Okay.
I mean, the two brothers are dead. You know, they died. You know, but no, I won't, because there's other people involved. Some knew no, nobody knew. None of us Americans knew exactly what was going on and why it was going on. We did not know. All we was doing is what we was told: deal with this here, deal with these guys, have these guys deal with that guy, that kind of thing.
Okay. But so is it safe to say that the story that we were told as kids, we grew up with it and sang the song and all that stuff, the story that we were told, is it safe to say that the story that we were fed is not even close to the real?
No, it's like the Alamo. You know, they said in the Alamo, they said
Yeah.
Daniel Boone and David Crockett and all these guys was heroes, but they weren't heroes. And they were shot because Colonel Travis was a hero and he fought to his death. And because he fought to his death, then whatever the guy named, the Spanish guy, he decided that these guys was cowards and had them shot. But they made heroes out of them.
Yeah. I respectfully, I'll just leave it at that. You know, I'm itching to ask some questions, but we'll have to leave it there. But alhamdulillah, I think it's clear. I think it's clear for those people that, you know, like I said, you shed a lot of light on many things, and the fact that even just giving us a small tip of the iceberg, it should be enough to, at the very least, let a lot of these people who are at least curious to go ahead and do more research, ask questions, ask their fathers, ask their, you know, because a lot of our fathers know, but they have not shared these things with us, you know, a lot of the details. So that's the thing. I think maybe this will, because there's actually quite a few people who the brother who called in earlier in a similar situation in which having these conversations with their father about some of this stuff is somewhat difficult. So hopefully this will make it easier, inshallah.
Well, inshallah, only thing I'm saying is that I haven't taken any words out of context. Alhamdulillah. I try my best not to take anything out of context and to say that what's true. I'm not afraid to tell the truth unless it hurts someone else. I'm not trying to hurt anybody, you know. Our situation, my situation, and Abu Muhammad's situation is that a lot of the stuff that we kept away from saying is because, it would cause problems for a lot of brothers, certain things that we were involved with, it would never go away. We couldn't write a book about it in our lifetime. And some things you wouldn't believe if we wrote it in a book that it happened, that it was possible for these little black guys from the United States to be involved in, But at the same time, it's like I say, I learned a lot. I ain't gonna tell you I didn't learn a lot. you know, because I did. And but at the same time, I learned about what's wrong and what's right. I ain't never been afraid to say what's wrong and what's right. If you'd have asked me 20 years ago, I'd have told you based on what I know. 15 years ago, I would have told you based on what I know, the same thing. I don't care who you were, you know, and that's just the way I am. You know, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of us, you know. Now, if you got any more questions, let me knock them out and go about my business.
Okay, let's see. Are there any more questions? Did you pull all the questions from the chat? It's a lot of stuff here, so I'm not going to go into it.
I deciphered like we don't have anything really important to get to. A lot of things Brother MJ already covered, just speaking out. So I don't have any questions saved here, but everything else covered on the law. So.
All right, so yeah, that's that. So that's we would like to open up another time that we can maybe plan it when you and Abu Muhammad could come on and tell us some more and give us your perspectives, because
I don't know what Abu Muhammad, why he's sitting there, because he knows much more than me.
And we would love to get his.
You know, he don't want to come on.
Oh, that's fine. Alhamdulillah. Well, alhamdulillah, I want to say again, shukran, jazakallah khair. We thank you for both of you guys being here and representing, and we're just gonna let you, say your last message that you want to send to everybody. Then we'll have Mubarak close us out.
Okay. Last message. Turn to Allah. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. And then iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. And then we will find that we don't have a problem. Allah hears the prayer of every supplicant. Every supplicant. Every supplicant. Nobody can block your prayer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's all hearing. If you ask Him for forgiveness, He'll forgive you. He'll forgive you. You ask Him again, He'll forgive you. You ask Him again, He'll forgive you. And He'll say, I love to forgive so-and-so, such and such. Because He turned to me. He asked me for forgiveness. He asked me for the forgiveness. So when you ask for forgiveness, you got a direct connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why would you go through anybody or to anybody for asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for anything? That's all. That's all.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you everybody for joining us in this last minute. The show will be uploaded automatically to YouTube. So tune in. We'll be on again Saturday night. And again, thank you, Jazakallah khair, for both of you coming on. You've pretty much, this is what you have done. Again, I'm at a loss for words of how important what you guys have done. And Mubarak, can you close us out, please?
All right. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursaleen. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I don't even know how to turn this thing on. Leave. There you go.